setting up your YouTube live.
How good?
Come on. You can do it.
Yeah, I can do it, Captain. This one says live on YouTube. It says live on YouTube on my end.
Yep, there you are. I can see you. We're on.
How good?
Let me do a couple of things. Let's change the gallery view. Yep, there we go. Let's share the link so people can watch us. Come on. Yeah, socks.
Yeah, Sammy.
There we go. Come on, come on, come on. Now Shane King. What's Shane King said to me? He's told me I haven't started on time. What are you doing? Righto.
Game time, baby.
We should be on here. Number of the notification. Yep, he's seen it. Cool. Sweet as. Righto.
Game time.
Welcome, Socks.
Thanks for having me, Sammy.
Oh, thank you. I think Shane's watching. I'm not sure. It's a bit hard to tell with YouTube and Facebook, so get rid of that one.
I've got no idea how all that stuff works, though.
Oh, did that still work, or did I just close it?
Neither do you, by the look of it.
No, we're still on. I just closed the link, so it still says we're live on YouTube. That's cool.
Oh, good.
As we go, mate. Welcome. So, what are we? When did I start this? Whatever. It was Monday night, so you must be what, 4 or 5?
Number 4 or 5, lucky number.
And our fourth guest, fifth time on, fourth guest, is the guy with the mo. If you ever do a workout, one of Iron Zuquana's workouts, or you work with him online, he just starts doing this when it starts to get really bad. He just does this little twirl at the end. You know it's going to be a tough session. Have you been working on that actually this evening? That looks like. Have you added to that? I didn't even notice that today.
No,
you've been working on that since our 5:30 session, haven't you?
I've had the curling iron on it.
What's your technical level of Zoo?
So I'm classed as a Bellator, which means I am a head trainer for Zoo International, and I'm also owner and head trainer of Iron Zuquana.
And Zoo spelled Z-W. What the fuck is Zoo?
Zoo, baby. Zoo is it's all about human connection. The movements itself are based on animal movements. So there's lots of it's all about mobility and just moving our body how we've naturally evolved in its natural way. So increasing our range to our hips, increasing strength in vulnerable positions, and we can achieve all this all while doing our using our own body weight while achieving strength and conditioning.
Yeah, cool.
You know all about it though now, Sammy. You know,
oh mate, I'm frothing it. After I covered for my first 4 or 5 or 6 sessions, it was good. Just got to survive that first session.
Get past it.
Just got to hang on. But I've really liked it, and I've I wanted to say a better word than promoted, but I'm a big advocate for the zoo. I've done the gratis one, which is the entry level training.
Yep.
And it's been awesome. I've really enjoyed so many different things about it. You know, the workouts, like I found the movements and everything quite challenging, but they're also, it's a workout that you feel that your body's being opened up rather than like I found with other weights and stuff that we felt like your body was getting, no matter how well you and how good you trained, it felt like your body was getting compressed. And then obviously as a chiropractor, I noticed those sorts of things.
Sure.
I think, and then also I really enjoyed the personal you against you mentality. And I'll come back to that. But that's also within a group setting where it's almost, if you're an introvert, I don't think you'd like zoo unless you do it at home by yourself. But then you miss the essence of zoo, which is basically, it's like, for me, it's like being back at the cricket club or the footy club, or it's like having a team with you that's going through it, and that team's helping you and you're helping everyone else, and that vibe that creates is awesome. But then it comes back to you and how much you want to push yourself, and you're only really competing against yourself. There's no, there's workouts and all sorts of things, and similar to other, there's some similarities with named workouts and things like that. But essentially, you're just pushing yourself, and that's the focus of zoo. That we won't. I don't think there'll be the zoo games or anything. It's about you pushing.
Absolutely not. So, no, there'll be nothing like that. I mean, that's one of the biggest things with zoo. It's you against you, and we're trying to push each other to go as hard as each person can. So, obviously, within any kind of zoo workout, we're trying to take the emphasis off yourself in a sense. So we're working together as a team. So when you start to hurt, you're not thinking about yourself. You know, if we're training together, I'm thinking about pushing you along. You're thinking about pushing me along. If we're training with somebody else, we're also thinking about them, what that does, because there's no focus on yourself. You're focusing on, person one, person two. It's creating wave after wave after wave of, I guess, enthusiasm, energy. Just, it creates a hell of a vibe and a hell of a session. So, no, it's good stuff. But circling back to that gratis, I mean, you've done your gratis now. How are you finding it's kind of branched into your everyday life after doing gratis?
Yeah, I think it's easy. Whether I don't know where we'll end up permanently or living for a longer period, but it's just down the road essentially, and it's great just to get amongst it and get amongst the team and that sort of thing. When travel and other speaking things come back on board later this year, I'm sure I'll be doing a few workouts with that level of knowledge, and it's definitely something working towards retreats and other things that are on hold at this stage. That zoo will definitely come into that, but it's I don't know, it's a bit like chiropractic. Chiropractic is kind of a way of life, and I think the zoo is definitely like that. And then I really appreciated the I didn't read the whole email recently as being a gratis one, like on the zoo email from the guys, Nathan, and what's his wife's name?
Alyssa.
Yeah, they are in California. Basically, there was no technical, I know so much bullshit about what muscle was working and what was happening here and what was going on there and all this stuff. It was like, this is just the movement. This is what it is, and this is why we do it. And then get amongst it. I was like, oh, it's so refreshing. There's so much technical, detail orientated. There's a few words I want to use, but it kind of switches people off, and I just like the matter of factness, like get in, get it done. This is how you do it. You don't need to know too much technical stuff. You just need to keep an eye on a few things.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, particularly in the fitness industry, it gets so overcomplicated. People want to dive into so much technical rubbish, and I mean, as scientific as zoo can be, everyday people don't really care about that. They just want to know kind of what it's working, how it's benefiting them, and then how to do it. And the simpler that we can keep it, the better it's going to be. So I think that's a really big component of Zoom, of how simple it actually is. And again, with the gratis, trying to get everybody, sorry, not everybody, but everyday people, just being able to understand, explain it better to people who are asking questions, because it's a natural conversation starter anyway. So, yeah.
I got you on just in case we all get locked down in our own locations for 2 weeks. Because essentially these movements that you do, I probably shouldn't cough on air, should I?
You get some dirty looks.
I'll just make it even worse now. It's basically like, and we'll show this because I'm literally in the bedroom that we're in at the moment. Well,
yeah.
Cat and Jacko's got a broken leg, and they're in the other room together. So, Jacko. But you can basically do a whole workout in your hotel room, in your house. You don't have to go outside. You don't need any gym equipment at all. You don't need a bar. You don't need anything. You can literally get. I think my shirt's still a little bit wet. It's not as humid on the coast, but I'm pretty sure my shirt's still a little bit sweaty from the workout that we did earlier this evening. Finished about 2 hours ago. So it gets the people going.
It definitely got the people going tonight, didn't it? That was pretty spicy tonight, but it was a good one.
That's in essence why I got Mark on here, just to share a few things that we can keep our bodies moving. Like if you've got some back issues and stuff, I've been giving a couple of movements. It's only just a couple that just to really help open the hips and get the body moving, get the people moving. Really good for the back stuff, and I feel it really does decompress the spine along with other things. But I'll probably technically not allowed to talk about, due to government legislation, I'm not allowed to talk about what I do too much. not in a positive way, anyway. If I can downgrade it, but that's another topic for another time.
Another time.
I forget where I was going now. I got sidetracked there, but basically how easy it is to get the body moving and keep things moving, and even you can even still have this community connection and have a workout. Like I'd be interested to see if we do get locked down for 2 weeks. So I'm sure.
Mate, I've got some. I actually, in a way, I might actually even be disappointed if we don't. Yeah. I've got some pretty cool contingency plans ready to rock. So I reckon it'll be really cool. It'll be really cool. I know Nathan actually put together. He did a Zoom call and got like something like 20 certified partners and different crews like around the globe, and they all did like a Zoom session together, like people who were in lockdown and stuff like that. So it's definitely some cool things that we can do if we end up being house arrested.
Yeah. So I don't actually know a great deal about you, Socks. You played a bit of footy.
I did.
Where did Zoo come in? What's your Zoo story?
Yeah, right. So I come from, like you said, a rugby league background. I had a little bit of success when I was younger. So always been, I guess, involved in team sport, and always kind of thrust into, I guess, leadership roles within those team sports. Whether I was a good leader or a bad leader at times is probably up for debate. But what was I doing? I'd started my business. So I'd started my personal training business, and I was a strength and conditioning coach of a local rep side back home in Toowoomba. And it was actually one of my mates, Michael Krog. He said to me, have you heard of this Zoo stuff? And I said, I've got no idea what that is. So we just decided to take a whole team into, there's a certified partner locally in Toowoomba. Her name was Camilla Baisley. She now lives in Sydney, I'm pretty sure. And she took me for my first ever Zoo session, which was I was a strength and conditioning coach of a local football side, like I said. So that session made me vomit. I thought I was pretty fit until I tried Zoo, and it absolutely buckled me. but I fell in love with it because my joints, I had a few injuries along the way. So I fell in love with it because I felt so loose. I felt so just ready to go. My muscle soreness was there, but it wasn't a joint soreness that you get from, lifting heavy weights. And I know a lot of, if any, footballers listening or anyone that trains lifting heavy weights, I know you get sore joints. You can't tell me that you don't. It's just how the body works. So I literally fell in love with it from that day on. In a twisted kind of sequence, I ended up being fitness director of that gym that we went to, where Zoo was held, and I tried it again with a bloke named Nick Sargent, who's also just a legend, also, and he. I got myself qualified. I messaged Nathan. I think Zoo officially had been around for maybe 3 years, maybe. And I emailed Zoo. I emailed Nathan, and Nathan himself came up to Toowoomba. He said, "Can you get 3 other people to do the course with you?" I said, "Yep." So I got 3 other people to do the course with me, and he took us through. It was called a level 1 course back then, and it was just a beatdown, man. It was just like so heavy and just so just absolutely brutal. And I remember we used to do this. It was something mental. It was like 2 minutes straight of like gorillas, just as fast as you could. Yeah, absolutely incredible. And I remember I was trying to keep up with Nathan, and I had this moment of clarity in amongst just all the chaos of wanting to die. I remember just looking over at Nathan, and he was just gliding along the floor, doing these gorillas, and I just remember thinking, "This is what I need to be doing." Like I just got it. The team aspect of it, the team, the camaraderie, obviously from the team sporting background, it just took me hook, line, and sinker, and that was it. Started taking the zoo sessions there in Toowoomba. I changed gyms. I helped open a world gym in Toowoomba, and I took it to world gym, and then we and then one day Nathan sent me an email and said, "We're looking at franchising out. Is this something that you'd be interested in?" And I said, "Shit, yeah, let's get into it." So I ended up. I wanted to come to the Sunshine Coast purely because I knew there was no zoo here. I knew that coming here, I was going to be the only one, and I loved the idea of the challenge of it. I love the idea of coming here and having to constantly explain it, having people say, "What's zoo?" I'm like, "Sweet, man, you got 2 minutes? Come with me." It's like things like that. I absolutely love. And I've now been on the coast for coming on for 2 years now, and I'm absolutely loving it. We're definitely starting to make some ripples in the pond now, which is outstanding, and I'm ecstatic about it. But it's still just so green. It's still just growing organically, and you know, it's a you've heard me say before, your vibe attracts your tribe, and I think what's been created there is something I'm really proud of. But it's people always talk to me about the culture of the place and things like that, and really now I don't have to do anything. I've got people like yourself and the rest of the crew in there who are probably just as passionate about it as I am, and all I really have to do is just like stoking the fire. I just have to throw some wood on it and let everyone go, and that's how it all goes. So yeah, mate, that's my zoo story. Now I get to do all the fun stuff. Going into, I guess, train some teams and things like that as a head trainer for Zoo. So working with the Wallabies and stuff last year, things like that. So it's definitely led to some really cool opportunities for myself, and definitely. And I mean, on a personal level, I probably touched on the leadership model a little bit, but I feel like it's made me a much better leader, a much better person as well. Just in terms of the right path and I guess goal setting and where I want to be, and I guess refining myself and my energy and who I am as a person.
So for those that don't know, it's like the most I've got out of Mark about himself. You don't really hear much about any of the sessions or anything like that, because it is actually a team effort. Like you can't really see, but the guy's ripped. And there may or may not be another type of gym, like literally like next door. And Mark like rips in with most sessions, creates a good vibe, doesn't just sort of stand there like this. Definitely doesn't stand there like this. Definitely doesn't stand there with potentially a bit of a pot belly or not looking as fit, you know, like I won't name the other group, but it's like there's a, as soon as you walk through it, Ironzoo, there's a culture, there's a vibe, there's a standard, and it's all about the community thing. Like there's literally the most I've got out of Mark, and I'd like to think we're probably good mates by now, but that's literally the most I know. I've found out more about him tonight. So thanks for sharing that. You wanted to touch on some of the stuff, so that's a good segue with where you finished and talking about the leadership of Zoo and how that's changed you. What are some as much as you can tell us, what are some key elements and values around leadership with Zoo, and how can help us at the moment with these sort of
oh mate, yeah, for sure. I mean, the leadership model of Zoo, it's all about old school principles, and everything that I'm probably about to say is stuff that Nathan Hellberg has set up. So I don't want anyone to think this is coming directly from me. But it's based on old school values, like respect. So you have to earn your respect. So that's the reason why I join in most sessions, because if I don't, I'm just some short guy with a mustache on the sideline telling people what to do. So you've got to get in and earn the respect and show people what it's all about. So I never get anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. I could never expect anybody to do that. So you've really got to lead from the front. And I guess in terms of what we represent, I mean, there's a saying in Zoo called, it says leaders lead, and you're always, I guess that's the difference between a boss and a leader, like what I touched on just there. So leaders will get in and lead the way. Bosses or will sit there and try and tell you what to do rather than show you. So the way leadership model works, we can put that into any kind of setting. I mean, we can put it in a sporting setting, we can put it in a corporate setting, family setting. If you're a leader of a group, which everyone has to be a leader of a group at some point, you've got to lead by example, and you've got to set the standard. And I think I have definitely have a standard that I expect. Not just in the gym, but for life in general. And again, this all stems from Zoo and how we can relate it to life in general. I find it makes the big thing that I find that it has an effect on people is positive attitude. For me, I often have people say stuff to me, I'm such a positive person and things like that, but I'm honestly just aware of the impact that I have on the people around me, and everybody should be aware of the impact that they have around me, that they have around people. Sorry. A hard situation can be made so much harder if your reaction to the situation is negative. So when a challenge presents itself, you've literally got two options. You can either A, turn around and go, sweet, this is what we've got to do. We've got to charge ahead. This is how we're going to do it. These are the steps we're going to do. Put your hand up, let's go. Or you can go, you can drop your bundle and crack it, and it's just not going to help anybody. So
on that, there was an interesting I mentioned this in one of the other calls this week, a guy called Peter Crone. Awesome guy. He's got some really cool stuff out. He's got some cool podcasts, and he's got some online stuff that you might have to wait for. He's got a book coming. Awesome dude. Cool. No, there's no financial thing there. There's just someone really been drawn to listen to at the moment. And he was talking about how the ego, like that emotion and everything, getting a bit off track, like coming back, is that It's like been watching Jacko. Jacko's got a broken leg, and he's cracked it. The last 3 or 4 days, he's definitely started cracking the shits a bit more. But the first week where he had the broken leg, it was like, I've got a broken leg. Cool.
Yeah.
What can I do? Well, I can watch Frozen 2 50 fucking times. Good messages in that. There's some good messages in that. It's definitely been worth my while watching it a few times to keep ingraining those messages. But there's no frame of reference for him. He's just, well, I've just got a broken leg. And then like he came to zoo with me tonight and he's trying to do some of the movements which we'll go through later with a broken leg, or he's just crawling around. He's started going down the stairs at the place we're staying at the moment, butt first, so he gets his leg out of the way, and he's just sort of got it down pat. And going back to Peter Crone, he was talking about how the ego, because we're as adults, we're all freaking out. Like Jacko has no concept of what's going on, and he's just doing his thing at the moment, for example. Yep. And like adults have got this reference and how things aren't what they should be, and we fight it. And it's like, so he talks about, so Jacko would be like throwing a brick in the ocean and you get a certain splash. Yeah, you're expecting a certain size splash, and that's the result that you get. And then if you throw something bigger in, you get a bigger splash. So if I threw a building into the water, you expect a bigger splash. But at the moment, basically, a lot of the fear and a lot of that stuff is that we're throwing a brick in the water, but we're seeing our mind is seeing and perceiving is this big splash as big as a building. And it's like, wow, that's like, I think that kind of explains how much our ego and how much our mind, particularly us adults who we think we've got our shit together, and I've got to own up to some of my shit. So remind me to come back to that, because that's been a theme with some people, most people this week. So we can bring it back to what you were saying, is that we think we've got our shit together, but we're actually blowing things out of proportion and we're going nuts. And that leadership is like crucial at the moment, that we lead by example, and that we might come in and out of shitting ourselves, we're a bit fearful, but to keep, leading by example and leading whoever it is around us.
Sure. Oh, absolutely, mate. 100%. I agree with that 100%. And fear at the moment is such a driving force, which is why, I've really felt a certain responsibility over these last few weeks in particular, but just to calm everyone's shit, like we're gonna get through it. Like, let's just take a breath. Let's reevaluate what's happening, and I'm sure we'll be okay.
Well, and it's not a scientific fact, this one that I'm going to throw at you, but it stayed with me since, I don't know if it was gratis or it was the second gratis it was that second gratis that you did where I came and helped the guys out when they were doing the workout.
Yeah.
Excuse me, just burping up red wine. It was quite nice. No. It was like when you're got nothing left to give, that's just your mind essentially, and you've still got 40%. And it's like, whether that's true or not, if you let that sink in, and I'm cooked in a workout, or like we've had some setbacks, and then we thought we're coming through some setbacks personally, and then we feel like we're just still at ground zero at the moment after a few things today. It's like, well, that's okay. I've got 40%.
40%, baby.
Like the fear and everyone's, there's jobs, there's money, there's heaps of stuff that can potentially happen.
Sure.
If we focus on it. But hey, if our back's against the wall, we've still got 40%.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite stories.
Love that.
One of my favorite stories. It's a cracker. That was Anthony Seibold. So that was Broncos head coach. So he was my coach back when I was about 16, I think. Excuse me. And we were at a.
That must be true. So.
Yeah, well, that's what we're running with. That's what I'm going with. I never checked it. I never checked it with scientific fact or not.
No, I don't want to. It's in my subconscious. I'm
100%. It's got me through so many hard times, not just physical, but definitely mental as well. So.
And if you're gonna watch the rest of the Broncos game, close your ears now, because the Broncos are actually up 22-12 for those that are interested.
Oh, you're kidding!
Oh, sorry. Did you not want to hear that?
I tip the Rabbits.
Oh, mate. I don't even know you anymore. So there's the leadership and the culture, and there's that. I was almost going to just go, and then there's the other one. And it's going to look like that. I should have a glass of wine every time I throw this. There's also, which is potentially going to be frowned on at this moment in time, but there's also an element of the touch factor, getting a touch.
Sure.
#GAT.
Yeah.
Why is
So-
that important? Why is that a key essential in a zoo workout with a group of people?
Well, human touch is a fundamental need, mate. It's a fundamental need. It's not a want. Humans need to be touched. We need human connection. We need to be touched. We need to feel things. And when we open up those lines of communication through getting a touch with somebody, that's exactly what we're doing. We're breaking down that first barrier of just communication. Immediately when people walk into any kind of zoo setting, they'll be greeted with a high five. I'm a toucher anyway. I touch people, male, female. When I'm engaging with somebody, I'm usually touching them on the shoulder. And what I kind of was brought up with that. My mum's a toucher as well, so I was kind of just brought up with just kind of, I don't know, when I'm engaging with somebody, I'll touch them on the arm or have my arm around them or something like that. So what I realize now, but what I didn't realize already, that when we're doing that, we're breaking down that barrier of communication where people will start to open up with you. People will start to talk to you, and particularly now we drive it so hard because it's an age of disconnect, in terms of face to face. We're so connected. You and I, we're talking to however many people are going to be watching this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So many people are going to be watching this, but there's a whole generation of people who've grown up literally with their face on the screen, literally looking down at the screen. And to be able to actually hold a conversation, a meaningful conversation, break down those barriers, and I guess, again, open up those lines of communication. Yeah. It's actually felt like, for me personally, I find it quite worrying as a potential future employer. For when I had kids growing up, it's a really big thing. But that's exactly what we're doing, mate. That get a touch, and we're still doing it now, even though I think the government doesn't want us to. We elbows, baby. Yeah.
Three players are doing fist bumps, so that's all right.
That's all right. I don't mind a fist bump. I'm not opposed to a fist bump. But yeah, I mean that's exactly what we're doing, mate. So as soon as somebody walks into any zoo session, the first thing they do, well, I know that it's 100% expected at Iron Zoo Kiwana that if I'm busy, I know that whoever's there from the crew will walk over, introduce themselves, get a touch on them, and make them feel part of the crew. And it's an immediate, I know we've spoken about this and actually done a few videos on it as well, but it's an immediate icebreaker. It's breaking down that barrier. And because it's a slap, it's casual. It's just makes people feel that little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, and you kind of like, part of it for me. I'm a social being, but it's just great. Like it's like I didn't go for a workout the other day. I slept in. I had Wednesday and Thursday off, and then I'm there Thursday morning waiting for you for coffee. I was like, "Come on, mate, what's going on?" And you got like a family of people that from all different backgrounds, doing all different types of things, from all different age groups, that just get together, have a good time, push each other, but also push themselves. And it is awesome. It is so good. I cannot speak more highly of it. So,
thanks, mate. I appreciate that. I love it. I love it too, actually.
Yeah, I definitely love it. I'm like, oh yeah. So we'll see what happens after things cool down. And I was like, how much was that certified partner? And anyway, that's another. I'm thinking of heaps of ideas this week. I think it comes back to the question. That probably a good thing to touch on. It's just the question that you're asking yourself at the moment. It's like, where's the opportunity? Like, there's
sure.
need there. Everyone, there's potential struggle, but like, how can I help? And where's the opportunity to do that? And I think there's quite a few of those coming through. So like, while I'm talking to all these cool people this week, I'm just going,
yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's probably another thing as well. I mean, circling back to, positivity in situations. This presented I know, obviously, I'm in the fitness industry. I know a lot of personal trainers, things like that, and there's a lot of people who are genuinely freaking out because they're obviously losing clients and things like that because of lockdown the fear factor and everything like that. You've just got to be able to adapt and overcome. You've got to be able to adapt in any situation, and you can either throw your hands up in the air and go, "Oh man, the coronavirus is making me lose all this money." Well, all right, cool. Find another way. Adapt. What can we do? You can do online training. You can do online programming. You can do what Nathan Elberg did just last night. And hold a Zoom conference and have 20 people with all different crews, like potentially reaching, hundreds of people with the one session, there's so many ways around it. There's so many ways to adapt, of just like literally shifting your attitude, shifting your mindset, and coming at it from a different angle.
Yeah, totally. So we've talked about it. Shall we do some of it? And so the one question I've got on the YouTube thread here. So if you're listening, guys, feel free to chuck in some questions as we go. Like I'm just talking to a mate of mine. I've learned a lot more about him tonight, but I'd like to have your input. You guys are part of the community. I'd love to know what you guys are looking for and what you guys want to get out tonight. Craig, who's one of the ballers, one of the Grab Life by the Balls, diehards, shall I say? He'll love that I've said that. Looks intense through film clips I've seen. Can you ease into it?
100%, Craig. 100%, mate. We so one thing that like you said, it looks really intense through social media and things like that. And look, it was born in the elite sporting world and special forces and things like that. So we can reach top level very, very, very quickly with Zoo. It's one of the most effective training styles that you can use. But I can also, my mother, who is, how old's my mother? I'm 29. She's 30 years old. She's 59. So my mom's 59. And she's in the best shape of her life. She didn't grow up playing much sport, anything like that. And she came to me and said that she wanted to get fit for her 50th, I'm pretty sure. So she's been literally a certified badass now for probably 8 or 9 years. But I started my mum when she was 49 years old, and I can teach people who are 90 years old. I can have a beginner and elite of elite in the exact same class. All it does is you just got to find an entry point for people, and I can teach it to literally, and I mean this genuinely, literally anybody. Anyone who says that they can't do Zoo, they just haven't been taught properly, and I personally guarantee that you can.
And potentially going with the meditation stuff we were talking about last night, and Cheese and Kyla and everyone else that we've had on, Jason last night. But also that, to me, that question, I'm just thinking about it, and it's like, well, it also implies that you're comparing yourself to what everyone else is doing, which is definitely not the intent of Zoo. So like, there's a move, I don't know if we'll be doing it tonight, but there's a move called a gorilla, and like, there's a couple of guys that they literally leap halfway down the room before you even get close to them. And I've done like 4, and Mark's done I've done 4 and you've done 1, literally. And I'm still going, and you'll finish where we need to get to. And it's like, it doesn't really matter. No one really cares, because everyone's trying to better themselves. And that's what the whole Zoo philosophy is. And that's what the intent is on. That's how it's led. That's what the group is looking at. So it doesn't matter if you suck or if it's really hard or whatever, because someone will be slapping you around or getting around you or high-fiving you and cheering you on to get it done. And it's just doing it at your level. And as your body gets used to it, obviously you can go pretty hard. Like if you watch Socks do some workouts, it's like I feel knackered just watching them. So it's quite good. I feel like I've done missed one or something. But yeah, it's definitely just about, yes, they're challenging, yes, they're hard, but that's more the mind chatter.
100%. I mean, the big thing to remember is, like, when you go into any Zoo session, the people who are going fast, people who are at the front of the pack, going through whatever we need to go through, they're going to be just as tired as somebody who's at the back of the pack. It's all completely relative to you as an individual, and the team is what tries to get people through anyway. That's what gets you through. So everything's time-based. You never have anyone finish before anyone else in any situation within Zoo. that's just not really how it works. We're always trying to get people to work together as a team and achieve the best as a team.
Craig's in.
He's in. Come get some, baby.
7 a.m. session tomorrow. I'll send you the Facebook details if you want. Otherwise, we'll leave Mark's details on the Facebook page when I clean up a few of the posts in there that give everyone details so to find everyone that we've talked to this week.
Sure.
But is that that pamphlet stuff that you gave me, is that still going?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. 100%.
Promo. Yeah, 21 days for $21. Don't worry about those 7 days for free or 7 days for $7. You can get 21 days for $21.
Perfect. Come here.
All right. Are we doing a workout?
Yeah, we'll do a quick one.
You want to do some key movements and then just a little workout to just show how easy it is?
I have to excuse my house. We're in. Oh, Ree's going to step up and take.
Oh, Ree's going to do some. And what are we doing?
No, she's going to film me.
I'm going to film. How do I flip?
Hi, Ree.
Hi.
Have you got it?
Yeah, I got it.
You work it out.
I got it.
All right. So what we'll start off, Sammy, I can't see you anymore. I'm just going to assume you're doing it.
What
do
are
you
you
go? First move, I think.
Gorillas?
What was that?
Are you going to do any gorillas?
Sure. I'll do a
Well, you don't have to. It just depends on how I set the things up then.
We'll go through our frogs first up though, yeah.
Oh, just because we did legs before.
So when we go through our frogs, this is the most important move we can teach anybody, Sammy, as you know, going through a frog. Elbows inside knees, chest up, back straight, just taking it all the way up and down. So what we're doing is opening up through our hips, elongating our spine. This is my dog, Oscar. Hey, Oski. What we're doing is elongating our spine and just taking the pressure off our lower back. So one of the most important movements that I can teach anybody. Go on your bed, buddy. So as soon as we start moving through our frog, working obviously through our quads, you feel it burn straight away.
Yeah.
I'm definitely feeling that burn straight away tonight. Are you feeling that?
Yeah.
Next move we'll go through. I always go through a half.
Did you talk about feet and where that is? Because that really gets my hips.
Sure. Our feet. So when you set yourself up, we're after about shoulder width apart.
And straight.
As we go down, your feet might want to turn out. That's naturally what my feet want to do where they are right now. Okay. But what that's doing, it's actually closing off our hips, not massively at all. But if we can square up those feet, what that's doing is prying apart our hips. So we're actually opening up our hips even more just by slightly adjusting how our feet go. So if we can get them parallel and heading straight, what that's going to do is just open those hips a little bit more. Ultimately, we're trying to get our chest up and our back. So I remember when I first started doing frogs, I was about here. I was literally hunched over and I could barely move. Obviously now I can sit with my chest up all the way through.
My legs are done. Can we move on now?
Let's go to a half Hindu. What do you reckon?
Yeah, right, eh?
Get under it, Sarge.
Yeah, get under it.
So the easiest way, a half Hindu. Go to you imagine there's a log here at the front of your head. Your elbow is going to be nice and tight like a tricep push-up. And we're going to get under the log. So your chest through, pelvis through, and I'm going to kick it back. So your chest goes through, pelvis through, kick it back. So what we're doing here, you'll feel that kind of hit obviously through your chest and triceps and your shoulders. It's actually opening up through your hips and your abdominals as well. It's a really beautiful movement, keeping it nice and controlled. You want to talk about the spine here, Sammy? What's going on with our spine in this movement?
Just keep it nice and controlled so you don't push anything out of whack. But it is really good. I think the stretch, I get a nice stretch when I get back through here. But yeah, make sure that you're really engaged and don't just flop and put all that pressure on your low back.
Yeah.
You can if you want, but I'll give you my chiropractic details for those that details. But keep that engaged and keep things moving. It is actually really good.
Absolutely.
I do want to go through one more, and then we'll do some gorillas, hey. But I do want to talk about a kick sit, Sammy.
Oh,
Just real
yes.
quick. So when we do our kick sits is a movement that's really quite popular now within the fitness industry. A kick sit is a zoo movement. It was developed by Nathan Helberg, and now a lot of other training franchises, things like that, have got hold of it, and they just kind of abuse it and treat it as a little bit like a burpee. So when we're going through a kick sit, I want to talk about the mechanics of it because it's such a beautiful movement for our body, and the mechanics of it actually far outweigh how hard it is. So a kick sit, we set ourselves up. We call this bulldog position. I'll show you from all different angles so I can make a point here.
I'll try and do the other angle for you.
Oh, my man. So twist, kick and sit. So you'll notice here my hands are pinned to the floor. I'm going to show you this angle from behind in a second. But my hands are pinned to the floor. This leg is straight. My back foot is flat. My back knee is high. All right. What we're achieving in this position here is a lot of thoracic spinal rotation. Hey, Oski, what do you reckon? Can you give
As demonstrated. Can you see that?
So thoracic spinal rotation is what we're after. So when we pin our palms, we're getting that thoracic spinal rotation, as well as we're actually giving our diaphragm a bit of a Chinese burn. So that's what makes it hard for us to breathe. So, but that's all right. We'll deal with that. So when we come back through, we twist, kick and sit. So again, that spinal rotation is what we're after. So trying to pin those palms to the floor. We'll never coach with our hand coming off because you can see immediately, as soon as I take my hand off, my shoulders rotate and I end up being pretty much square. So if I should show you from behind, this is what it looks like with my hands pinned to the floor. You can see how much my spine is rotating. As soon as I start taking my hand off, you can see how square I end up being as opposed to there. So when we're doing it, it's really important to get the mechanics of it right. Just to get that thoracic spinal rotation. And I guess, you know, people, in terms of how hard it is in getting your heart rate up and, you know, the conditioning aspects, it's definitely, in my opinion, the hardest bodyweight movement that anybody can do. People say burpees are. I'll take your burpees and I'll raise you a kick sit. It's you give me 20 seconds and we'll see who is going to come out a little bit worse for wear. I think the kick sit's going to win. But it's a brilliant movement anyway. But you want to do some gorillas, Sammy?
Well, I was just making sure I had enough room just in case.
I can work it down from the kitchen, I suppose.
You didn't have enough room because, like, you do one and it'll be out of shot. So
I'll work something out.
I like how you didn't deny it.
I didn't deny it.
You really need a side on shot just to see show how far that you actually leap.
I'm not.
No, it's all right. I was only staring at.
So gorilla is both hands, both feet, both hands, both feet. So again, the gorilla is a weapon movement. So your heart rate's going to skyrocket every time you drive forward with your feet. It's like an uppercut to your diaphragm. So it what that does, it messes up your breathing pattern. All fitness is it's the ability to exert yourself while maintaining a breathing pattern. That's why we can run as humans 42 kilometers, because what we're doing, we're exerting ourselves but maintaining a breathing rhythm. As soon as you lose your breathing pattern, you're in trouble with anything. And that's what makes Zeus so effective, because you can't regulate your breathing. You can't do it because all the movements chop it up. All the movements are hitting your diaphragm. All the movements are forcing you to breathe out. And then you try and suck air back in because your heart rate's up. So that's the important thing to remember when we're doing this. So that's why. What was that?
You can definitely attest to all that. That's for sure.
Oh, don't know that. So I'll see if I can do a gorilla. We've just got stuff everywhere at the moment. So when we're driving through, Roxy's awake, we go hands to feet. All right. So we're aiming to get our feet up past our hands. And like I said, for the mechanics of it, if we can get through there, what that's doing is obviously opening up through our hips even more. It's elongating our spine. It's actually the exact same theory as what we're doing for our frog, but obviously a lot more high intensity. So the gorilla itself, again, in terms of the mechanics of it are are really good, a bit like a kick sit. So when you do kind of, I guess, Instagram or look at Zoo, you definitely, the first things that come up are always kind of kick sits and gorillas because they look really impressive. But the mechanics of those movements far outweigh the I guess the conditioning aspects of it.
And is it okay if you can't make your hands don't make it, your feet don't make it past your hands?
Yeah, 100%. Just means you've got to open up through your hips more. So if you're working through here and this is all you've got, literally, if we're just cruising through there, that's 100% okay. That's your entry point. Like I said, everyone can do Zoo. I would literally teach a gorilla. I would teach a gorilla to a 70-year-old woman. That's just 100%. The mechanics of it are fantastic, and it's a natural movement for our body to be able to do. So as we go through, we're obviously encouraging to try and get our feet up as far as we can with each rep, okay? But there's also drills that we do to help with that as well, involving frogs. We did one tonight, actually, with our frogs to gorillas. So the more open our hips are, the more power we're unlocking through our glutes, through our hips, through our quads, taking pressure off our lower back. So that's one of the main fundamentals of what we're trying to teach within Zoo itself and achieve through the movements as well.
Cool.
Yeah, baby. How you feeling?
I was cramping up on the kick sits. That's why there was some funny faces.
Those frogs were getting me.
And then I asked a question about frogs. I was like spewing.
No one asked a question about frogs.
No, I asked the question and then we kept talking about them. We're still holding it. I was like, that was a bad idea.
It's a good idea.
So, and then like a workout with that, like that's for some people. I've already got a sweat up.
Yeah,
What would be a workout that you do with that?
you could literally take how many movements did we do just then? 4. We did 4 movements. The easiest thing to do with those sorts of things, and it depends on what you're trying to achieve out of the set, right? So all those movements there, mechanically, that's some of the best movements that I can teach anybody, okay? But to turn that into an actual workout, you could literally you could go for a minute 20, you could do 20 seconds each exercise, right? A minute 20 work with a 40-second rest, so you're going every 2 minutes. So 20 seconds of frogs, 20 seconds of half Indus, 20 seconds of kick sits, into 20 seconds of gorillas. Like, you and I know that how hard that's going to be. So,
it sounds easy. Just wait till you start doing it.
We might just do that tomorrow morning. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm game. Craig's keen, but he can't make this week. But he also said the Broncos won 22-18.
Oh, it's a good game, isn't it?
Top comments from Craig tonight.
And thanks, Craig. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, like I said, it's honestly that easy. Try not to put, whenever you're trying out Zoo, try not to put reps on it. Try not to categorize them in reps. Always go from a time perspective. So like I said there, 20 seconds each exercise for a minute 20 effort. You could easily blow that out to 30 seconds each exercise for a 2-minute effort. That's spice. That's pure spice. If you want to do that, you got a death wish if you want to do that. But you're really after something there. But keep everything simple. Remember, everything's simple with Zoo. So if you want to give it a crack, the simpler the better.
Yeah, cool. Anything else?
It's been a pleasure. I feel pretty good.
Cool. So where can people find Zoo and Iron Zoo Kawana?
Absolutely. So Iron Zoo Kawana, we're located obviously in Kawana Waters, in Sunshine Coast. We're on Waterview Street, just off Nicklin Way. So a really central location for the Sunshine Coast. If you're not local, there are certified partners all over the world. We're in 70 countries worldwide. So there's certified partners that will be running the bodyweight sessions, just traditional Zoo, like what I was just demonstrating before. And you can find them very, very easily. Just jump on worldzoo.com and you'll be able to find a
a certified partner in your local area. If you're having trouble with that, by all means, get in contact with myself. You can hit me up on Instagram, Ironzoo Kawana, or that guy with the mo. I'm always happy to help people out.
Well, Mark's also actually in the Facebook group, so you'd actually be able to add him as a friend on Facebook and hit him up through
or
Facebook.
add me on Facebook. Boom, add me on Facebook.
Or even just have some messages just in the public group there and keep some conversations going in the vibe.
Absolutely, get it going in the vibe, baby. We're all about the vibe.
Yeah, cool, mate. Really appreciate you coming on. Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward. There's potentially some cool things that could happen if we were forced into a couple of week lockdown, and one of them would be continuing my zoo routine. So I'm stoked with that. So
there's going to be some real. I'm actually, look, like I said, I might be a little bit disappointed if it doesn't happen, but well, I think it might be cool. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to try and find a way to kind of introduce some more online stuff with it anyway. So if you can't get into the club, then obviously we'll be pushing some online stuff. So it'd be really cool. It's kind of a lot, like I said, it's making the best out of a situation. It's made life tough for a lot of people, and I definitely understand that. For a little while, I was probably a little bit like, holy crap, what am I going to do here? But adapt and overcome and find ways to make it work for you. So it's good.
Awesome, mate. Really appreciate you coming on. Guys that have been watching, thank you for being here. Would love if these are more of just rather than a conversation with myself and our guest, in this case Mark. It'd be great to hear some more questions and comments and see what you guys want to get out of it. Make sure we're on the right track. There's a few of you watching, so I presume we're on the right track with the information coming out. Make sure you get around Zoo, and if you can find Mark's stuff as well, that's awesome. Tomorrow night we have a bit of a guru mentor of mine. He won't like me saying those sorts of words, and he basically changed my life. He's like really epic human, the wisest guy that I've met, and not just read books of. He's a really cool dude as well. Has an interesting take on lots of things, particularly what's going on at the moment, but an expansive, universal vision of how things are, and very philosophical and very, just super, super wise.
Sounds a lot cooler than me.
We're all cool in our own different ways. We might have to quarantine him. He's a bit older, so you don't want him to be vulnerable. Is that too soon to joke about that? Or
I don't know. I was going, ooh.
Yeah, well, he's been a bit older than I. He had us two together, and he's still got us covered. So he's been around a bit, and he's constantly learning, constantly curious. So the guy's name's Mark Postles. We're actually staying at his place at the moment due to some circumstances, which I mentioned earlier in the week. But he's a cool dude. Sunday night we've got Ali May. So Ali and I have done a few things together. Ali's a little pocket rocket. She goes off. She's online business and the barefoot business queen and all these sorts of things, and she just fucking says it how it is. And if it's not right for her, she's like, right, it's not right for me, and I'm not feeling it, and she's on to the next thing, and it's awesome. She's got this great vibe and great energy. As I've said, I usually balance her out, so it'll be interesting to see which Ali turns up on the night. So that's cool. And then another guy that you would know, Socks. We've got Jordan Potts.
Potsy
on Monday night. So I think we're doing some breathing stuff with him. So I haven't chased him up. And then that's as far as I've got. Kyla's got some. Kyla, I don't know where Kyla is. Kyla must have a hot date or something before we all get in lockdown. So I'll chase her up and see if she's joining us tomorrow night. But yeah, there's some cool chats happening. Craig, thank you very much for keeping the footy scores coming. If you guys want anything or need anything, shout out. If you want different angles or different questions, feel free to shout out. If there's stuff that you want us to ask guests or put into the group more, or anything like that, or anything you need help with or want to ask questions about, let us know. Owning my shit. So it's been a theme with our guests. So I'd like to put my hand up, as James Mansfield put. And there was an incident today at not at Iron Zoo, but actually at Australia Zoo. And as mentioned, Jacko's having some good tantrums. I've got the whole story with it, but I am taking responsibility for it. But I'd like to set the scene as James Greenshields is a good storyteller. I'll be quick. We're at Africa, so that's at the end of the zoo. The zoo's quite big. It's got on acreage. It's not like a city zoo. It's like a big thing. There's like a little bus thing that takes you, like there's a train bus. It's not an actual train, but it looks like a train. And it takes you around. Jacko loves the train. So we're out of Africa, which is basically the end part of the zoo. We need to get back. It's like Jacko's sleep time. He's been finding it hard to do a shit because he usually squats down. He gets in a good frog position.
Nice.
So he's been struggling with that, and he's done a poo. He doesn't want me to change it. He's got his trains out, his own trains out, Thomas trains, and then the train turns up. And it's like the thing that he really wants to do. And he's saying he doesn't want to get on it. He's saying he doesn't want to change his nappy, but he doesn't want to sit down because it's like all these things like bombarded at once. And the train was actually 10 minutes early, and the lady's telling me, well, we won't have time to change the nappy. And I fucking lost it. I picked up Jacko. I'm pushing the pram. I go to put Jacko in the thing. Because he's wiggling around, as I've gone up the stairs, I've bumped his head on the roof. He's lost it even more. And then we've got off, and I'm fucking swearing, and I'm wearing my Grab Life by the Ball shirt. It was a great promo, and of how not to dad and all these sorts of things. And I lost it a little bit. I didn't go too bad, but I definitely lost. I was like, for fuck's sake, like, what do you want? I'm trying to give you options, trying to have a logical conversation with an almost 3-year-old. And then I caught myself, as I usually do retrospectively, and I was like, oh, Jacko. So I had a little chat with Jacko because he knows what's going on. And I just apologized for my behavior. And the story's great, but I'm taking responsibility for my role and how I reacted in that situation. It definitely wasn't what we'd been talking about this week. And I was like, oh, I've got to talk about that tonight. I don't want to.
Yeah.
So owning my shit and putting my hand up, and I apologized and owned my shit to Jacko. I would like to acknowledge that in this space as well. Jacko was fine afterwards. His head was okay. We had a great session at zoo this afternoon, got him out and got him amongst it. But yes, definitely owning my shit. And as I did mention to Jason last night, Jacko is probably the main instigator of my my challenges with emotions and expressing them and all those sorts of things. And to be a great dad, I'd like to be an example, like with the zoo motto of leading by example. So I just had a little chat with him and acknowledged and said sorry, and have acknowledged it here. So I'll endeavour to do better tomorrow because I've got him again tomorrow. So I'll touch base with that'll be a good chat with Mark. Actually, he'll probably dissect that a little bit more tomorrow night. So but just acknowledging, and if you want to, it's interesting times, and for us there's a heap of other stresses outside of just the thing that shall not be named, and just life stress. Ours is building up a little bit, and we thought we might have control of that, and then we don't have any control of that after today as well. So I think there's plenty of pressure, and I'm not the only one that's going to lose my shit or need to own my shit at some point. But if we can have an open conversation about that, I think that just takes the charge off it, and we can move forward and endeavour to do better next time, because even if we're up against the wall, we've still got 40%.
40%, baby. Leaders lead.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for the workout. I'm still sweating, I think, by the look of it. I'll see you in the morning, guys. Look forward to chatting tomorrow night. We'll see you all soon.
Awesome. See you, Sammy.